The mistrust and relationship between Anakin Skywalker and Windu is one that evolves over the course of the Clone Wars, as well as comes to a climax in Revenge of the Sith. I've always found Mace Windu's decision to kill Emperor Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith an interesting one, especially when concerning Anakin. With the context of the Clone Wars, for the entirety of the Clone Wars, Windu has been pushing Anakin to do things by the book and by the Jedi Code. And now, in this moment, he wants to break the Jedi Code and kill Palpatine. Anakin feels severely betrayed. Not only is his father figure at risk, but also the one time Anakin wants to follow the Jedi way and do things by the book, he's told that he's wrong. Everything is at stake for Anakin, and Mace Windu doesn't care. What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to explore more comments made by Dave Filoni concerning the 4th season of Star Wars The Clone Wars, and really where Mace Windu and the Jedi and the relationship between Anakin and themselves begins to really fracture. We're going to talk about how the breadcrumbs are left from this to eventually culminate in Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin truly distrusts the Jedi fully. Before we get into the explanation, we'd like to thank today's sponsor. I'm sure you guys have heard of it before, Raid Shadow Legends. We don't take on very many sponsorships on the channel, and certainly ones that we don't ourselves enjoy and appreciate. So, without further ado, let's briefly talk about Raid and the updates that you can expect, as well as the prizes that you can get by using our link in the description down below. First, I'd like to cover one of my favorite factions, fallen from grace in their homelands of Aravia. The Dark Elves, inhabiting forests that border the realms of Teleria. They see persecutions in Karuk rather as a boon than a bane, supplying them with a stream of silver. They have set up tolls for those anxious to pass safely, but woe betide those who cannot pay. This month, Raid has a non-stop lineup of special events and activities, with a special Halloween lineup at the end of October, bringing big rewards, tournaments, and some special fragment to get brand new legendary champions. Word is, there may even be a very spooky surprise. If you want to get a huge head start in Raid, all you have to do is hit the link in the description, or scan my QR code, and you'll get an epic hero known as Chinoru, who is amazing in the Doom Tower. In addition to this, you'll also get 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard so you can summon an awesome champion as soon as you get in the game. Thanks again so much to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring the video, and now let's get into it. This was the question posed to Dave Filoni in the interview. Again, this interview is about Season 4 of The Clone Wars. The next storyline with Obi-Wan undercover was interesting. In the final episode, we had a swerve where some important stuff happened with Anakin at the end. The idea seemingly being that this was Palpatine's first attempt to truly turn Anakin. Was this the idea? Well, in Revenge of the Sith, we get to see it play out, but what if Palpatine had tried already? What if he'd tried, but it didn't work the first time? Was this your intention with this arc? Dave Filoni then responded with this. This was really a George idea, as all the initial story jumping off points are. He said, this is the first attempt. You've seen the second attempt because he's trying to get a sense of Anakin's abilities. I think a lot of people just accept the inevitability of Anakin becoming Palpatine's apprentice, but it's not so cut and dry as that. If Anakin can't survive the Clone War, if he's not powerful enough, he'll die, and he'll never become Darth Vader. It's not gonna happen. The Emperor is interested in power, and being the most powerful person around. So it was kind of neat when George explained that to really do this story, that it was ultimately about Anakin, but doing it all through the character of Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's point of view, and trying to come up with a plan, and something that was so layered that the audience doesn't even really see that it's a test for Anakin. And although the series and arc focuses on Obi-Wan, it's not even really about him. It's about how Anakin will react to the Jedi's treachery, and one of the first times where they really lie to his face, specifically with Mace Windu. The Jedi don't understand that this is Palpatine's test for Anakin, and Cad Bane has no idea what the purpose of this whole thing is. Even the bounty hunters, to a large extent, get played in the whole thing, because the kidnapping of Chancellor is such a ruse. He wanted to be captured. They did all of this to lead to the moment where Anakin can duel Dooku. It's not meant to happen even the way Cad Bane thinks it's going to happen and go down. In the episode The Box, everything about it was just filtering the process to failsafe, because Dooku knows the Jedi are going to be able to kind of suss something out. So the box isn't really meant to figure out which bounty hunters can't make it through, because you can see the bounty hunters that they need for the mission obviously made it, like Darrowin, but the box really filtered out Obi-Wan, and it allowed Dooku to understand that who was really there, that there was someone, a Jedi in their midst. The box is a test for this, and Dooku knew immediately. And by the end of that, you also have a lot of things set up for Revenge of the Sith as far as Anakin mistrusting the Jedi and Mace Windu mistrusting Palpatine. Absolutely. I think it's an important thing, because a lot of people when they watch the movie, they go, well, how can Anakin turn his back on these people so quickly? They're like a family to him. But when you give the greater context of the series, you see, well, it might be a family, but the family doesn't trust Anakin. The family doesn't believe in him fully. The family isn't often much of a family, as Palpatine is a grandfather to Anakin. The scene between Anakin and Palpatine when they're walking towards the window is phenomenal. It's probably the most like the prequels our show has ever been. Earlier in the interview, Dave Filoni would talk about the arrest of Palpatine, and how this episode really set up Anakin's mistrust for the Jedi and Windu. This is what Filoni said. I think Anakin, in the end, would have been for arresting the Chancellor, and when he sees Mace is there to execute him, it makes him think the coup is all real, and that it's all a real thing. And I think the same truth exists where Krell is concerned for Dogma, unfortunately. I think that Rex and them might go to testify on his behalf, but it is their reality in that moment. It's really this episode that sets up the initial mistrust between Anakin and the Council. In Star Wars, you always kind of get the impression, especially in the Clone Wars, that they don't fully trust Anakin. But this is the first time that they really lie to his face. And Anakin, rightfully so, believes that he deserves more information than he's given. But it plants the seeds in his head that the Jedi are willing to lie to him, and are willing to go through extents and means that Anakin does not approve of. Anyway guys, what are your thoughts on this, and the heated relationship between Anakin and Mace Windu? And what are your thoughts on these series of episodes, where Anakin's mistrust for the Jedi really begins to boil over, and at the same time Palpatine can truly test Anakin, especially with his duel with Dooku, truly see where Anakin is at, and how his power will begin to grow as the Clone Wars continues. Something that I picked up in this interview that I didn't pick up when I watched the show was that Dooku did actually know that there was a Jedi in the midst of the bounty hunters, and that the episode The Box was meant to determine whether or not a Jedi had actually infiltrated the group, which in the end Dooku, and as a result Palpatine, know that they have, and are now able to adjust accordingly. But again, what are your thoughts on the interpretations between the relationship between Anakin and Windu as made by Filoni? Is this the first real moment where it begins to go downhill for the Jedi and Anakin? Again, my friends, don't forget to check out the Star Wars merch page. If we could get this video to 4,000 likes, that would be absolutely phenomenal. As always, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching the video. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.